I might not have the most pleasant things to say about Central African Republic, but I would prefer that we Africans are telling our own story instead of having other people come to tell it for us.
Hello, my friends, once again. We are exactly in the same place we were in the previous video. We didn't go anywhere. Today we're going to be talking about what her experience was like living in Central Africa Republic. Like I said in the previous video, she also has a blog where she talks about her experiences. She talks about culture, she talks about life in general. So you can go to her blog. Can you tell us the name of your blog?
beltammy.blogspot.com.
And you can also follow her on Instagram
at bell.tammy.
and you can follow me on Instagram too.
Wale Chronicles.
If you want. Okay, so as usual, we would like to start with a bit of background. How did you end up in Central Africa Republic? How long did you stay there?
Work again.
I like this job, please. We can talk about your job
I
after.
wish we will talk about work. In fact, I'm going to say a bit about work if you allow. But Central African Republic, I was there for 21 whole months.
Wow.
Nearly 2 years. I don't know how I survived it. It was a very difficult place to live in.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know how to go forward after this. I'm like, okay, the end. Like, end this video now.
One of the things I was just saying to Wale is I might not have the most pleasant things to say about Central African Republic, but I would prefer that we Africans are telling our own story instead of having other people come to tell it for us. I'm speaking as an outsider of, somebody from Central African Republic. But there's certain nuances that we can do that other people, a European, an American, a Canadian, might not be able to see, or they would not see certain things from certain perspectives. And that's one of the things that I've come to terms with in so many respects with my work.
What are the people like, and how difficult or easy was it for you to make friends with locals first of all, and then expatriates, other fellow foreigners like you?
I would have to say, if there's any Central African Republican listening to me, je vous demande pardon, mais il faut que je dise la vérité. So I'm asking them to please forgive me if these things I say don't come out so pleasant, but I have to say the truth. Central African Republicans are very removed from their emotions. The country is one of the poorest countries in the world and has continued to suffer from constant conflicts, and that's kind of why I was working there. So I might be speaking just from the perspective of somebody who did some humanitarian work there, but I got to see a whole lot because thanks to my job, I could see so many parts of the country. I could interact with people and hear their stories. And they've just dealt with so much suffering, so much loss, so much killing, so much bloodshed that in some way they are desensitized.
Oh my God.
So you could have, something could happen right now and you see me screaming my head off, and then you just see my colleagues like staring. Almost like they have out of body experiences and they're no longer connected to their emotions. I know this is heavy, so think of 21 months there. Yeah.
Wow. I can't even make any jokes. I can't make any jokes in this video. I feel so evil for even laughing in the beginning. Like,
no, come on.
Oh my God. What's my next question? I don't know. I wanted to ask a follow-up question. Like, my brain just went blank. For friends, I don't think this is the ideal circumstances to talk about, like, or to even try to even make friends.
I actually did try, because one of the things I like to do wherever I work when I'm outside of my country is to mix with the locals, understand their culture, just see everyday living from their own perspective. I tried to make friends, but the fact that these people, like I said, they can't really connect to their emotions. It was difficult to have genuine connections outside of work. So the people who I ended up being kind of friendly with were my colleagues. Yeah.
Now, all these topics look frivolous, like speaking about this country, because I'm like, leisure activities actually the next topic, but it's like, really?
Yeah, there's not much. There's
Okay.
not much. But in Bangui, which is the capital of the country, you have restaurants, you can shop, there's swimming pools. Like when I would go to Bangui, I would always go to swim, I would go for a massage, you know, like, because where I lived in the west of the country in a place called Boa. But then my area of responsibility was so wide because I was working in covering a region. So I was constantly traveling. It would take me 2 days to get to one place, and there are no roads. So it's all travel on dirt roads. So once you're on those roads, it's bumpiness all the way. And from my back being constantly tense to my body reacting in different ways, I couldn't even eat, you know. So whenever I went to Bangui, I would just like, okay, take a moment for you, relax. Again, it's another country where patriarchy is just at its peak. And we went to this village, and every time we're working, I always try to take a moment to just interact with people in the village or things like that. And I saw women pounding millet. They were trying
I
to
saw
get
the video on your Instagram stories.
I think that's something you should share. Like, it was so interesting how I was speaking to them, and a man comes and he's trying to act like I have to speak to him to speak to them. And at that point, and I don't speak the local language. The local language is Sango. So my colleagues would always translate into French to interact with people. And I told my colleagues to tell them that no, I'm equally an African woman, and I don't need somebody to speak for me. These women have mouths, so I want to talk to them. I want to understand what they're doing. So I decided to pound with them, joked a bit with them, and I wanted a bit of the millet because they're telling me what I could do with it. And the man wanted me to pay him, and I'm like, no. You know, he kind of had some funny attitude. The women were like, take it, we don't want you to pay us, just have it. And I didn't feel comfortable taking from them. So I gave them something. You should have seen their excitement. As we left, the driver just kept saying thank you to me, and he's like, you have no idea how much you've helped these people. You know, just those little gestures. It goes a long way.
So at least this is a light topic. Food. What were the food possibilities there? You talked about restaurants in Bangui.
Bangui. Yes.
Okay. The restaurants in Bangui, you talked about restaurants. What kinds of restaurants are available? What are the things available in the supermarkets?
In Bangui, there's so many restaurants. There's from French to Ivorian to Senegalese. You have a whole lot of variety.
Okay.
So for food, you wouldn't lack what to eat. Local restaurants were also there. But again, our taste buds are very different.
Okay.
So it's another country again where they would eat, they call, swallow la boule.
Okay.
They would eat it dry with meat. Yeah. Again. So they would eat that dry with meat, or, you could actually find them using la boule with pepper or something. They dip it in and chew it, and I couldn't do that. They're not fans of rice, for instance. Yeah, they're not fans of rice.
Is life without rice?
They're not the biggest fans of rice. What else did they have? They didn't have so much. There was one thing I ate which I loved I loved it a lot. It was called maboke. It's a way they prepared, I think, was it plantain and meat in banana leaves. That was one of the local dishes I really loved. Beyond that, there wasn't not so much of variety.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, but at least there are restaurants and you can eat the
in
local
Bangui,
food.
yes.
Yeah.
In Boa, where I live now.
Okay.
Another village situation.
In terms of moving around the public transportation system, the village and also Bangui, like what's obtainable?
It was kind of the same, motorbikes. And the funny thing is, in Bangui, you'd see like 2 to 3 people on a motorbike. And then outside of Bangui, when we traveled to village, I always said I don't know how people did it, but you could see up to 5 people on a bike.
What?
Because there weren't many. Like I said, there are no roads. So they're all dirt roads. And people can't afford cars. Who is going to maintain it? How would they look after it? Or so the major means of transportation was motorbikes. In the capital, some people had their cars, but outside of the capital, forget it. So people would walk long distances with like stuff on their heads or travel by motorbikes. I was always so marveled when I would see colleagues who would say they're traveling from Boa to Bangui on their bikes and it would take them 2 days. So, and again, I'm not allowed to take public transportation or experiment with those kind of things. So I had to drive everywhere. We were not allowed to walk at all. To tell you how bad the security situation is, the country is controlled to a large extent by armed groups. So just the capital it feels like it's only in Bangui there's the government. Everywhere else, no. Armed groups control everything. So even in Bangui, we're not allowed to walk. If you must walk short distances in 2s during the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the not so nice part of your job. It all sounds like, oh, she's traveling from one country to another, how amazing. But then this is the reality.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're here to talk about, to
Yeah.
show the good side and the bad side. I would prefer the good sides only, but life does not have only good sides. So like the question I wanted to ask now is if you had an opportunity to live there again.
Nuh-uh.
Let me finish.
You don't
the
need to
question.
finish, no.
Like the opportunity will not come.
No, it better not come. I hope they don't ask me to go back because it was like I said, it was very difficult to live there. Work was super intense. I can put this out there, I had a mental breakdown.
What?
At some point, I had to speak to a coach. These are the things that that we don't put on social media, but it took its toll on my health. People won't understand how. In my last post on Instagram, for instance, was just the fun times I've had with people. People won't understand how having people around, having support, having fun, and having a sense of normalcy. But if you do the kind of job I do, it's important for your mental well-being.
Wow. In the end, problem no they finish.
At all.
So, but yeah, this is the reality of some countries are wonderful, some are not so great, but we are just trying to keep people informed and give a personal experience on what living in certain countries is like, and that's the whole essence of this channel. Thank you so much for sharing this part of your journey with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and guys, she's so deep. Like if you want deep, serious life stuff, go and read her blog and follow her on Instagram,
on Twitter.
Yeah.
Same name, Beltami.
Yeah. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.
Bye.